everyone, welcome back to 10 for the Chairman. For those of you that haven't seen this show before, it's where I answer 10 questions that have been submitted by our generous subscribers who help fund all our community content, the video stuff that we're doing now, the Women's Hangar Show, Jump Point, and a bunch of other stuff that happens. And so I answer 10 questions for them about the game. Without further ado, let's get to it. So first question is from Funk Trooper. And Funk Trooper asks, hey Chris, if our first character plays through Squadron 42 and then later dies in the persistent universe, does the benefactor automatically have citizenship? Or would there be an option for that character to enlist and replay Squadron 42 if you would like to? So that's actually a pretty good question. I haven't really thought of that in terms of, if your, say, parent or relative has citizenship, do you get citizenship too in the case of your character dies and you move on? So I guess I would have to think about that. I would think that we would definitely give, if citizenship does not automatically transfer, which it may not do, we would definitely give you opportunities to regain citizenship. So military service would be one of them, or various other things that you could do. But I don't have a fully formed answer for you on that one, but that's why this process is great. You bring up issues that we need to resolve, and it's better to resolve them now than later. Okay, on to the next one. Subaki asks, Dear Chris, there's a rumor floating around general chat that once you fly a ship in the dogfighting module that you own, you can no longer melt that ship. Is that true? Or does it only apply once the package or ship is applied to a character in the persistent universe? So we haven't made a decision on that. Definitely once the game is live and the persistent universe is live and you take your ship and apply it to a persistent universe character, yes, you will not be able to melt it. You will not be able to trade it back in because you're playing the game and using the ship. My sort of initial response right now is on the dogfighting module, we'll probably give you a pass and let you fly around and have some fun and potentially melt your ship. But I'm not promising it just yet because I wouldn't want people to abuse that. But I think maybe it will be a sort of opportunity for people to try out things that they like. And decide what they really want to play with. But definitely once persistent universe happens, once you apply your package to a real in-game character and the in-game character you enter the world, then you won't be able to just sort of arbitrarily melt it and change it around. Okay, next question comes from Totenkopf. There you go. Totenkopf asks, how will contracts work between organizations and individuals? Will there be a system in place within the game or organization module that will allow organizations or individuals to negotiate contracts, ensure cargo or assets involved, and finalize payout? So we'll definitely have a system to be able to handle these kind of things. We may even have a system where you could put money in escrow until a job is performed. Maybe even someone administers that for a fee. And also we're going to have a rating system. I think I've mentioned this before, but in America there's this service called Uber where you can dial up and sort of hire cars to take you places. And both the person that hires the car and the driver of the car rate the other person. So when you're looking at a car nearby, you can see what that driver's rating is, and the driver can also see what your rating is. So you obviously don't want to go with someone that only has a 1-star rating. You want to go with someone that has a 4 or 5-star rating. And I think that in that case, we would definitely have both parties in sort of contract when you hire someone, like an employer hires someone to run a mission. Both the employer and the person running the mission can rate each other, and so you can sort of see, okay, well, this is a transport pilot, and he's got a 4.5-star rating out of 5. He's pretty good. He's definitely worth me paying a premium. And then this guy's got a 3-star rating over here. So we'll have a bit of that. So we'll have a bit of that sort of self-regulating objective ratings, and then also maybe some systems like escrow and a role that someone can take as an arbitrator for a fee. To arbitrate sort of disputes. So I think we'll have systems that are fairly similar to what's in the real world to make that kind of stuff work well. Okay, so next question comes from Valarian, who asks, will you be able to hail NPC ships and threaten them to drop their cargo on the off chance it will save their ship? If so, will there be a randomly generated personality for NPCs, some that fight, flee to the nearest authority, or cows that will drop their cargo and run? Yeah, the short answer is yes, absolutely. I mean, my goal actually is for the NPCs in the game to sort of feel and appear much like real people. So in some ways, I almost sort of feel like until you get up close, I kind of don't want the players to really even know that it's an NPC or a player. It could be an NPC or it could be a player. And therefore, the NPCs are already designing a bunch of behavior for them, and part of their plan is to sort of have sort of kind of human-like responses, like preserve their own life or do all that kind of stuff. So I would definitely say that you will be able to say, give us your cargo, or pay the consequences. And some people will fight you, and some people will just surrender the cargo and get out of there. Okay, so next question comes from Hollow-San Voidrax, who asks, will all ships have artificial gravity? If so, how does that affect the G-force system you spoke about for the dogfighting? So not all ships will have artificial gravity. Most of the bigger ones where you walk around probably will have artificial gravity. I'm sort of playing with the idea that maybe on some ones you would just have sort of like kind of more magnetic boots, because we are actually modeling for our first-person combat artificial gravity and zero-G combat. So we're going to have all those as options, and one of the things that potentially could be something that would be fun to disrupt borders would be to basically disable your artificial gravity, and then all of a sudden you're in zero-G. How it affects the G-force system? Well, I mean, really not so much. I mean, pilots fly around here in Earth, and they're experiencing, the gravity of Earth, yet they still deal with G's as they pull tight turns. And the same would definitely be true in space. If you have artificial gravity in your ship and you start to really sort of, pull a really hard right turn, you will, since you're not statically bound to the object that's turning right, there'll be an equal and opposite force on you, and you'll be getting pushed. So you'll probably still have some level, you'll still have obviously G-forces happening even when there's artificial gravity. But generally, the other thing to, I think, remember is sort of the bigger ships that you would more likely have the artificial gravity. Like, so for instance, the Hornet doesn't really have artificial gravity because you're strapped in. But the bigger ships, you probably won't be able to pull as hard of maneuvers as you would necessarily in, say, some of the smaller ships, which is, again, part of the sort of trade-off balance between big ships, small ships. Big ships have more armor, more weapons, but then again, they can't move it quite as quickly and all the rest of the stuff. So, so I hope that answers the question. So the next question comes from Zig, who asks, will we ever be able to play as the other alien races? If so, will we have an expansion pack of a sort similar to Squadron 42, but with an alien storyline? So you'll definitely down the road be able to play as one of the other alien races. That will be a sort of longer term expansion of the persistent universe. Just right now, in terms of generating content and assets, it's, we've already got like crazy amount of stuff to do. I mean, there's a whole bunch of people out there that think we've almost got too much to do already. So that won't be at the beginning, but that is definitely a long-term plan, because I really want to see that, and I think it'd be fun to play as a Tavarian or as a Jean or a Banu. And if we do that, we probably would also create sort of a companion single-player experience like Squadron 42, but for the race. Okay, so I think, yes, we will have that. Next question comes from Phoenix9151, who asks, will the next great starship be available as a pledge ship? I can't wait to see what some of these teams come up with, and maybe even buy it if I like it. If the ship fits, fly it. So definitely the next great starship ship will be available to everyone out there, and be available in the persistent universe. So so yes, the answer is yes. And I think we're sort of debating, but we're probably going to let you guys sort of choose what kind of ship it's going to be. So that'll be kind of fun for you. Okay, next question comes from Commander Pika P, who says, may we disable our weapon systems in order to meet the energy requirements of a high-capacity shield? In turn, if shields go down, can we forward power back to the weapon systems on the fly? So yes, the answer is absolutely yes on that. That's part of the core design, is that you're able to do a huge amount of energy management, diverting energy from your power plant to your engine thrusters, to your shield, to your weapons, and even inside your shield, you'll maybe be able to, depending on the shield setup you have, you'll probably be able to divert power between the different segments of the shield as well, and even between the different weapons. So, so yes, is the answer there. So the next question comes from Justicus, who says, will we be able to buy parts of ships as well, so that we can build our own ships from them? Specifically the non-human ships that we can't buy from a storefront and have had no luck capturing in the wild. That's an interesting question. I mean, so really the way the ships work is that you sort of buy a hull, and then you can customize it, add different items, equipment to it. But we're not really right now set up to sort of buy, I don't know, like a rear wing and then a fender from a different ship and put them all together and sort of make some hybrid ship. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to build ships from parts. Not at the beginning, we definitely won't be able to build ships from parts. Who knows down the road? But you certainly will be able to sort of buy different equipment and items and add them to your ship, and some potentially could be an alien item that you could have to have adapted to work on your ship. So maybe sort of a small combination of this, but not to the extent that you can build a ship wholly out of just sort of junk parts. Okay, last question comes from Arbitrary Sketch, who asks, what kind of interactions can players have with non-hostile NPC ships? Can we request repair, refuel, and resupply assistance from a passing carrier, trade goods with merchant ships, things of that nature? So yes, answer is absolutely yes. Those are all things that we want to do. As I said a little earlier in this section, that one of my goals is to make the NPC behavior be pretty human-like, and they behave and do the same jobs and same actions that most players will do. So, and also obscure the fact that it is an NPC from a real player, at least from a distance, from people. So it just feels like it's a living, breathing world that's populated. And you'll run into people, and hey, some may be AI controlled and some may be player controlled. And if we do our job right, maybe you won't even realize that a player is playing a ship and you think it's an AI, and vice versa. But they'll definitely be able to. They'll help you out. They'll refuel you. They'll do all those kind of things. Are all sort of things that we're planning for. Okay, I hope that answered the question. That concludes another episode of 10 for the Chairman. Again, thank all of you for backing and supporting the game and the contribution of all the subscribers, because it helps us do these community communication, information like this, and Wingman's Hangar, and the Jump Point magazine, and quite a few more other things we have planned. And anyway, thank all of you, and I'll talk to you next week.